Welcome to the Brent Gove podcast with co-host Eric Lofholm. We are building 1 million agents in 100 countries in 10 years. Now, here's your host, Brent Gove.
And welcome back to the big show. We're glad you're here. It's a beautiful sunny weekend here in Puerto Rico. Just got done playing some golf. But today I'm with my illustrious co-host, Mr. Eric Lofholm. Eric, how are you?
Hey, Brent, I am doing great. It's great to be with you today. We've got a great podcast lined up for our listeners. Today, we're talking about the past does not equal your future. So get us started off.
Come on, baby. I heard a guy speak once. He says, your body doesn't live in the past. Why should your mind? And if you think it's true, the body's in the present, was it yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. And so you got to be present. And sometimes I think so often we just live in the past, man. Well, I used to be great at wrestling, or I used to be a great snow skier. I used to be a great softball player, or I went bankrupt, or I lost my job and got fired, or I got divorced. And whether they're good memories or bad memories, they are memories. And so I think it's important to live today and have dreams and goals. What's the Bible say, Eric? Without hope, people perish.
Yep.
I think hope is a good thing for a brighter tomorrow, for a future. I think that's a beautiful thing. Have goals, have dreams, have visions, but you got to live in the present, man. You got to do something about it. So I want to just kind of unpack that today. Again, your past does not equal your future. So don't let it hold you back. And I really think people live a life of quiet desperation. They are held back by their past. Something an uncle said, a mom or a dad, or something they didn't say. You're beautiful, you're amazing, you're going to have a great life, you're going to make a difference. And a lot of people think I'm a big zero, not a hero, and so they just kind of get by. How you doing? Fair to middling, and that's even a good response. Terrible, And so how about doing great, And I think Eric, Henry Ford said, a man or a woman's about as happy as they make up their mind to be. And
Yep.
it's like we tell our children, you have kids, I have kids, Eric, you tell them, hey, have a good attitude, chin up, I'm like, well, like, no. Don't be, playing the violin and feeling sorry for yourself. So, does that spark any thoughts or through in you, Eric, about what I just said about the past, not equaling your future? Anything resonate with you?
I'm thinking of a client of mine, and he didn't view himself as intelligent. And I got to know him because I was coaching him, and he's super smart. And I was like, where does this come from? Because you're as smart as anybody I know. And he said, back when I was a teenager, my dad
Yep.
sat me and my brother down. And he said, now, one of you is going to go to college and one of you is going to go get a job. He was like 16 at the time. And he said, your brother, he's the one that's going to go to college because he's a smart one, and you're going to go get a job. And it created this thought in his head. And this guy, like I said, he's as smart as anybody I know. And so I helped him see, like, you're highly intelligent. And once he got that that's who he is, it completely shifted how he felt about himself. And I think what happens for people, things happen back when we're 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. I grew up in a divorced family, and I felt like I didn't fit in with my family. And so I brought that into my adult years. I don't fit in. And it wasn't the truth. It was an old story from when I was a kid. So living from the past versus living into our future, where the future is imaginary, hasn't happened yet. So and you're brilliant at this with your vision boarding, and you look out in the future, and you're great at thinking a thought and bringing that thought into reality. But I don't think most people do that.
Well said. It's funny you bring up the vision boards. I have 3 interns at my office this fall, and we're doing a 12-week internship. And one of them's 18, one of them's 21, the other one's 22. And they're learning about Pace Morby, creative finance. They're learning about investment real estate, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, about the importance of buying real estate and becoming a real estate investor, and buying assets, not liabilities. And poor people buy cars and boats. Rich people buy assets, cars and boats, by and large, unless it's a vintage Porsche or something really unique, some magical Chris Craft boat that was driven by President Reagan. You know, I don't know. Do you drive a boat or do you steer a boat? Anyways, the point the point is this: by and large, people buy spas, timeshares, boats, cars, motorcycles, and they're depreciating assets. And so they're just getting a blast out of those books. But what I had them do last week, I said, here's what I want you to do. Or order a bunch of pizza on the company American Express card. And I want you to do a vision night. Meet down at the office, buy magazines, get poster board, get scotch tape and scissors, and just go through travel magazines, go through cabins or beach houses or homes, or buy a book, buy those magazines called like Money or Success, and clip out pictures of families on the beach that look happy. Because maybe one day you're single and you'd like to have a family. I remember doing this when I was single. And guess what? I have a family, but I clipped out a happy looking family. I clicked the word out of a financial magazine that said debt free. I picked out, I do a lot of golfing magazines because I like to golf. So I picked out beautiful golf courses all over the world, which I've played now. So that's what a vision board is like. What excites me? Is it hunting? Is it fishing? Is it charities? Is it mission driven work? Is it missions? Is it having a family, or maybe starting adopt a pet, whatever turns you on. I met a woman at the club this week. She's saving coral reefs here in Puerto Rico. It doesn't appeal to me, but she's certainly passionate about it, and that's awesome for her. Stay in your passion. But here's the point: is my 3 interns were like, okay, they thought it was kind of cool. We'll do it. They absolutely loved it. Like, the 3rd intern is my son. He's 22. He goes, Dad, this gave me so much vision. I cut out pictures of Korea, I think Japan and Indonesia or the Philippines. He wants to travel and he loves Asian culture. And then he just all kinds of things. He goes, I really feel motivated. I mean, it motivated me, and it's like, because without a clear vision, it's just cloudy. And nobody likes a dirty windshield. You got to see. We like to get the bugs off the windshield and clean it real good. You can see clear where you're headed. And all 3 of those guys absolutely loved the exercise. So if you haven't done a vision board lately, do one. So well said, Eric. Well said on the vision boards. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people may not realize, I would imagine most people listening to this, you've heard of a vision board, but like, why does it work? And it's tapping into manifesting. It's tapping into getting clear on what you want, and then aligning your thoughts, your actions, and then your visualization, which the picture helps it. You create the picture out, cut out the picture, and then you're seeing the picture in your mind, and you're getting your mind used to, this is what I want my outer world to look like. I want it to match what's happening in my inner world. And so, you're talking about the past versus the future. You're all about looking out in the future. What do I want to create? Who do I need to be now? What actions do I need to take now? What shifts do I need to make? And so I think it's a great, great conversation for our listeners.
I love it. Yes. And you got to win the internal battle. There's 2 voices in your head. One says you'll never get married. You'll never be happy. I'm telling you flat out, that's the voice you don't want to listen to. Think of the funny cartoon of the guy. He's got a little devil on the left shoulder, a little angel on the right shoulder, and they whisper in your ear. One says, you're ugly, you're fat, nobody thinks you're interesting, nobody cares about you, your future will amount to nothing. When you hear that in the internal dialogue, you need to know, I love people. People love me. I'm kind. I'm giving. I'm bigger than life. I am going to make my dent upon humanity. And wherever I am, I'm going to shine. Whatever room I walk in, I'm going to lift. I get on a Zoom room, I'm going to show up and smile and make a difference. I'm going to walk into church and not drag my butt 20 feet behind me. I'm going to lift people up. I'm not going to suck on my thumb and feel sorry for myself and say, woe be me this and woe be me that. That does not serve you. So when you hear a voice that says, you're dumb, you are ugly, you are fat, nobody could ever love you, just remember that's the little cartoon figure on the left, that little demon, devil, whatever that is. That is absolutely not a God moment. God says you were created in the image of God, and he has great plans for your future. I choose to listen to that one. And you can think, well, I don't believe in God. Well, I still think it's a good idea to think that you have a good, positive future. He used the word manifest. I just think of envision. Without hope, people perish. What is hope? Hope is vision. I hope we're going to be warm this winter. I hope we're going to build a house that have a roof over our head. I hope we get to travel sometime and go do this or that. I hope my kids get to go to college and and then to act. So I think a dream or a vision without action is foolishness. And so you have to put one step in front of the other. I wrote here earlier, I was kind of getting ready for this. I go, you can wallow in your current situation or you can walk out of it. Right, right. If you're taking those, wallow, baby, wallow, or walk out of it. The choice is yours. We all have family members, friends, relatives, aunts, uncles, maybe sisters, brothers, daughters, sons who wallow in their situation. And pigs wallow. They're in the mud. They're not happy. Do not wallow. You can feel sorry for yourself for about 1 minute. And I got a cool story I want to share, Eric, and I've shared it before on the podcast, but it's worth hearing again. Tony Robbins says there are 3 rules in life. The sooner you learn these 3 rules, the better. Number 1, life is not fair. Sometimes bad stuff's going to happen. And if you read the Bible, the Bible says, hey, in this life, in this world, there'll be trials and tribulations, which means there's going to be trials and tribulations. It's not all roses and ponies and rainbows, right? It's not all. We all go through storms of life, and it's how you respond. Everyone has a plan to get punched in the face, and you get up and you wipe the blood off your face and you go, okay, again and again and again and over and around and under, I'm going to figure it out. And you ask for help and you humble yourself. And so there's a great story, Eric, that I heard the other day. This young man, not young, I'm sorry, he was in his 50s. His name was Alfred. And he loved his brother Ludwig, and Ludwig died. And they were having a service for him that Saturday afternoon to honor Ludwig and his life. And people come to the funeral, the service, and say nice things, and everybody remembers somebody and says why they were grateful for him. So Alfred, have you heard this story, Eric?
Mm-mm.
True story. True story. Alfred, this is in Europe. Small town. Well, in that small town, every Saturday morning, they published the obituaries back when people used to read a thing called the paper. And so Alfred, he was anxious for the funeral. He was going to speak at it. It was his brother Ludwig. He loved Ludwig, and he wanted to see what they wrote about him in the local paper and what their feelings were towards Ludwig. And he opened the obituary. He found it, and there it was, Alfred. The guy who wrote the obituaries got confused and thought Alfred had died, and he wrote Alfred's obituary. So it's kind of weird. You're reading the paper expecting to read about your brother, and the person who writes the obituary section for the paper wrote your obituary and talked about what you did or didn't do or what your contribution. And you know what the title was, Eric? True story. Doctor of Death finally dies. Good riddance. He
Wow.
deserves to die, and our world is better off without him.
Wow.
That's what it said. This is a true story. And you can look up the article. And it turns out this guy, Alfred, invented TNT. He invented dynamite. And he was a doctor. That's why he was a doctor, because the dynamite, people would, they use it to take down mountains and do good things, but they would also use it to make bombs. And so their opinion, he goes, is this really their opinion of me? He goes, I'm just a scientist, a doctor. I invented something that is combustible. But he was shocked. He didn't think people could think that way. And he's like, you know what? This is not acceptable. Remember when I said your past does not equal your future? So guess what he did? He was very wealthy because his invention made him a very wealthy man, dynamite, TNT. So he took millions and millions and millions of dollars, a big sizable chunk, like half his estate, and he set it aside. And his last name, Alfred, do you know what Alfred's last name was?
What?
Nobel.
Oh, wow.
He invented the Alfred Nobel Peace Prize. And he said, I refuse to go out like this. And so when you say the name
That's awesome.
I thought you'd like it. I set it up
That's
pretty good.
awesome.
When someone says Alfred Nobel, do you think Doctor of Death, or do you think, oh my gosh, the highest honor one person could get, the Nobel Peace Prize? And so he rewrote his future in his 50s, and he's like, no, this is unacceptable. So your past does not equal your future. I knew that gave you goosebumps. That was a good one, right?
That's awesome.
So do
I never heard
something.
that.
Yes. Look it up, research it. So here's the bottom line. If you got it crummy today, you could have an awesome tomorrow, but you got to do something. You can't wallow in it. You can't feel sorry for yourself. Again, Tony Robbins says, number one, life isn't fair. Number two, you're entitled to nothing. And number three, no one's coming to save you. Take action. Take massive action. Put one foot in front of the other and start marching out of that valley of the shadow of death, and go, what can I do in my health? What can I do in my wealth? What can I do with my family? What can I do with my faith? I'm starting here in Puerto Rico a Bible study tomorrow night. First one ever. I've done Bible studies before, but I've lived out here for 5 years. I've attended them, but I haven't done one. So tomorrow night, I invited a bunch of guys. I think I have like 9 guys coming over. We're calling it the Paul and Silas Bible study. And because they got inspired by their story, they got beaten and thrown into prison, and they prayed and worshiped God, and he blew open the prison doors, and the shackles fell off, but they responded well in a dark, dingy, cold prison, their valley of the shadow of death. And sometimes all you could do is just thank God, that you're alive, that you didn't die, and that find the silver lining. What you could focus on what's wrong, there's lots of that. And you could focus on what's right. There's lots of that. Air in your lungs. The sun came up. It's a long, dark night, but thank God for the dawn light. Thank God for the morning rays, the sun. It's a new day, a new beginning. Don't take yesterday. Yesterday was horrible. Last night may have been horrible. But step up, take action, create those movement. Emotion equals emotion. Motion equals emotion. Get off the couch, onto your battle, into the feet, and go do something with your life, man. Do something. Read a book. Listen to a podcast. You're listening to this podcast. Go for a jog. Go for a walk. 10 minutes a day will change your life. And just walking. Just start moving. Anyway, so that's just a few things I want to say today on your past does not equal your future. And our good friend Alfred Nobel with the Nobel Peace Prize proved that, and so many other people. So those are kind of my thoughts as we wrap up today's podcast. Anything you want to caboose onto that, Eric?
Yeah, I got a couple of final thoughts. And one is that I get the opportunity to be around Brent with the podcast. And, sometimes we get to connect outside of the podcast. And I've known Brent for many, many years. And he is incredibly optimistic. And that is part of his secret sauce. So I want all of you to think about, are you optimistic? And you might go, I am, or you might think to yourself, yeah, I'm not that way. And if you think you're not optimistic, I would suggest that's living from the past. So in the future, you can be optimistic. If you'll be more optimistic, I believe that will help you close more real estate deals, become more successful, make more money. The future hasn't happened yet. So choose to be optimistic. And I want to wrap with a very quick story about Phil Patel, who's an agent out of Solano County. And I had a call with Phil this morning. And Brent, Phil had his best month ever this month of October. Probably a lot of agents are thinking, oh, it's late in the year, whatever. He had his best 5 deals to the finish line this month.
Wow.
Which got him, Brent, to his best year ever as an agent. And I wanted to share that story because some of you listening right now, you need to hear that positive story of an agent just like you. He just closed his best month ever that created his best year ever. And I told him, I said, now, Phil, there's still 2 months to go. You keep that foot on the gas. You do not take that foot off the gas. So I want to share that optimism. And we appreciate all of you listening into the podcast. And I always like to wrap up the podcast by encouraging you to listen to the podcast multiple times to put these best ideas about the future and optimism into the subconscious mind, and also to share the podcast with your team and with your organization, to share the link with them so they can get to benefit from Brent's powerful message today. And Brent, any final thoughts you have before we wrap?
Oh, I'm texting Phil Patel and congratulating him on his great
Oh, that's awesome.
picture of us. I said, Eric's bragging about you on my
That's
podcast.
awesome.
I don't know if you listen to my podcast, but if you listen now, because you're a big star, Phil. I know Phil Patel. Love him. He's just like a golden retriever. And well said, Eric. Well said. So yes, we'll see you on the next podcast, right? Let's do it.
Right. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Okay, so here's the deal. We have incredible information, video content on my YouTube channel. Go over there and make sure you subscribe. And it's vital that you ring the bell. If you ring that bell every time I put out new content, it's actually going to notify you and you can get the latest and greatest of what's happening at EXP. Now, don't forget to like me on Facebook so you can also get that content, and then follow me on Instagram. We're hitting everybody high, low, and in between. We're trying to get the information out there so you can build big businesses, revenue share organizations. So go to YouTube right now. Please subscribe and ring that bell. Like me on Facebook and follow me on Instagram. We'll see you out there.